The market is having a good time today. Most prices are going up, but it's actually not the altcoins that are outperforming. This is a rally driven mainly by Ethereum. Ethereum dominance is going up. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. Let's have a look at how much longer this rally might last. Here is the long-term Ethereum dominance chart. How much of all of crypto is currently in ETH? And this tends to trade between 7% and 21%. The transition from proof of work to proof of stake happened in Q3 of 2022. And we got our bounce in April of this year at 7% after Tom Lee with Bitmine was buying Ethereum. So that was the story about the foundation of Ethereum treasury companies. We had Bitcoin treasury companies before, right? Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy. Then we had Tom Lee with Bitmine. That caused Ethereum to double in dominance. But then for the last few weeks, the excitement has worn off. And today, as said, is quite bullish again, and that's pushing up many altcoins. Let's have a look at the recent past a bit more. Again, this is the bounce when Tom Lee started buying, and this is the turnaround that started at the end of August. The Ethereum dominance metric is still within trading range. So the overall bearish trend has not yet been falsified. However, look at this. This is Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, a comparison of both market caps. And here we actually did see a breakout. And that's what makes the current situation so complicated. Usually things are quite straightforward. We are within a range, we tend to trade down. And so whenever we are higher on that range, it might make sense to bet on falling prices. Whenever we are lower on the range, it might make sense to take profit. But now we've got two ranges that are relatively well defined. And we have broken out of one of those two ranges, Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, not Ethereum relative to the rest of the market, as in Ethereum dominance. Now, why are we in this downtrend anyways? What happened here at the end of August? By the way, if you so far enjoy this content and you don't want to miss future videos, then feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly over here. The answer is the acquisition through Ethereum treasury companies has slowed down. This is the ETH balance by 6 treasury companies. If we exclude Bitmine, we get this. We can see that outside of Bitmine, the purchases have completely halted since the end of August. And that's what created the bearish momentum. Have a look at the holdings of the treasury companies plus the Ethereum ETFs. Again, there was a lot of excitement and maybe one more push in the middle of September. But since then, this is going sideways most of the time. The next days will be crucial for Ethereum. If Ethereum is still able to outperform the rest of the market, maybe we see a new narrative. Maybe it's not going to be treasury companies, but purchases through some other means. Very often, narrative follows the price action. Now, if we don't see that breakout on the dominance chart as well, we might just continue on our trend. And this could simply just be a fake out. It's really the stable coins that are driving the market right now. This is the stable coin dominance. And initially we got quite nice adoption, but recently we see more and more how stable coin dominance is inversely correlated to the Ethereum price. As in, when stable coins get deployed, that's when the Ethereum price tends to be high. When stable coins accumulate again and don't get deployed, that's when the Ethereum price tends to be low. And the big question is, are we going to hit 16% in stablecoin dominance again? If the answer is yes, then Ethereum would fall again, potentially all the way down to $1,500. At the 16% mark, of course, it does make sense to buy the dip. But right now, again, we are at a crossroads. We could draw a trend channel where we've just seen the turnaround, but the overarching trend definitely is rather bearish. There's also an inverse correlation between Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance. So sometimes money flows from Ethereum to Bitcoin, and sometimes it flows from Bitcoin to Ethereum. Since August of 2022, Bitcoin dominance tended to go up, and we are relatively low on an overall rising trend. And historically, we only tended to turn around in Bitcoin dominance when we hit the 73% mark. If Bitcoin dominance was to go up from here, then Ethereum dominance would logically go down. Again, because of the inverse correlation, money flowing from one of the major assets to the other major asset, and vice versa. Now, if you find this all a bit complicated and you simply just want to copy trade whatever I do, then there's also the premium membership of this channel. So whenever I bet on rising or on falling prices on a particular cryptocurrency, I announce this in the channel. And in July of this year, we also opened an automatic copy trading pool. That pool so far has made 17.6%, while Bitcoin during the same time period crashed by more than 22%. That's the idea. We want to bet on performance independent of the macro environment. We might just go sideways in the market and we still make money. And if you're going down, we try to protect that capital. And we're achieving this by doing something called macro hedging, right? So we go long, say, a particular cryptocurrency while we go short the entire market. So we're really just betting on the delta. And so we're not really interested what the general market is doing. Even if we are in a bear market, by just betting on the deltas, we can still produce performance. You can simply copy trade and even do this with leverage, right? Here are a few trades made by community members. Or if you want to invest in the next copy trading vault, that will be available to the annual members of this channel. The next copy trading capital pool opens in January of 2026. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you on Premium. Link pops up here on the screen. See you next time. Cheers.